The briefing room was cold, sterile. A single light illuminated a map on the table, the lines blurred like the faces staring at it. Captain Miller, a man forged in the fires of a dozen campaigns, traced a route with his finger. He wasn't a big man, but his presence filled the room. His team, hardened soldiers all, hung on his every word. They were shadows, ghosts, trained for the impossible. Tonight they were tasked with Operation Silent Storm. A high-value target, a doctor working with refugees, had been taken, snatched away by forces unknown, held in a fortress beyond the border, a fog-shrouded no-man's land, a place where the rules of war were whispered, not spoken. Time was the enemy, each tick of the clock chipping away at the doctor's chances. Miller looked at his men, his brothers in arms. They didn't need a rousing speech, didn't need promises of glory. They understood. Failure wasn't an option. The world dissolved as they crossed the border, the familiar becoming alien under a blanket of fog. The air hung heavy, thick with moisture and the metallic tang of fear. They moved like phantoms, their steps muffled by the damp earth. Each man knew his role, their silent communication, a language honed over countless missions. Trust was absolute, forged in the crucible of combat. Sergeant Davis, Miller's second, limped slightly, a souvenir from their last encounter. A constant reminder of the fragility of life, the ever-present danger that lurked in the shadows. But Davis wouldn't be left behind, not this time. Not while he still had breath in his lungs and a fire in his belly. They were a unit, a single entity bound by duty and something more profound. They were brothers. The fortress loomed out of the fog, a monolith of stone and steel. Grim and imposing, it exuded an aura of menace. Miller, his face a mask of determination, signaled the plan. Breach and extract, swift and silent. The lives of the hostage and his team depended on their precision. They were professionals, the best there was, but tonight, fear gnawed at the edges of their resolve. An explosion ripped through the silence, a calculated distraction. Chaos erupted as the team stormed the compound, their movements a blur of controlled aggression. Each man fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, their training taking over. But the enemy was ready, the corridors erupting in a deadly crossfire. Miller, senses heightened, saw a shadow move, a muzzle flash. He reacted instinctively, shoving Davis aside as a bullet tore through the space where he had been standing. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as he returned fire, his heart pounding in his chest. The hostage was safe, battered but alive, a testament to their skill and courage. As they melted back into the fog, the weight of their victory pressed down on them. The adrenaline faded, leaving behind a hollow ache. They had won, but at what cost? Miller looked at his men, their faces etched with exhaustion and something else. Relief? Or was it the haunting specter of what they had faced, what they had been forced to do? The fog seemed to cling to them, a suffocating shroud that mirrored the darkness that threatened to consume them. But they had each other, their bond unbreakable. They would carry the scars, both visible and unseen, but they would carry them together. For they were more than soldiers, more than brothers in arms. They were survivors, bound by a shared experience that would forever link their fates. And in the end, that was all that mattered.